Oh, yes, 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 and welcome to me and everyone, all of you. Or should I say, welcome all of you to me? Hmm, who
Hmm.
knows? Same thing, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Change degrees. I got another voice nodding in the background. Yes, I'm Mal Burns. Mal is the first word, Burns is the second word. But if you want to go to and find me on Twitter, you're going to have to squash me. Inevitably, the interwebs squashes, don't they? So it's twitter.com/MALBURNS. And that Twitter feed contains all the links that I will be mentioning on this show today, plus a number of other ones too. So it's but you can guarantee to find the direct page clicks, as it were, for the stuff I'm talking about today. I'll give you the websites, but I can't give you the full lower half the time. Right, so as I say, my name is Mal Burns. This is Metaworld News. We cover news here, despite our name being Meta.
Mm-hmm.
We, we, I now prefer to say that this is news from virtual world, from and about virtual worlds and immersive spaces. No M words in sight except for our Metaworld name. I think you know why. Right. Okay. So continuing in that vein. Well, not continuing in that vein. Actually, I am also joined, of course, by James Atlloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mal. I was not ready for you. Let's
Ah,
see. So I'm gonna zoom in.
Music Oasis.
Right,
You're
right. Yeah, shirt is
right.
from Music Oasis, and that's um, interestingly, that's isn't that the place that we go to for Dr. Fran's talks on Tuesdays?
Um. Oh, good point. No, actually, I don't think it is. Oddly enough, I think well, it might be. I'll have to double
I,
check. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Music Oasis is the stage for those events that are done from London here. And
Okay,
Dr. Frank,
okay,
but I think there's another site with a similar name. It's definitely
okay.
got music in it.
Yep.
In fact, I'll tell you what. While we're um,
Well, this is from on the Sansar store. This is the Team Music Oasis store. And
uh,
so, I'm always good for a free T-shirt. So
yeah, of
this is my
course.
free T-shirt today, and I like the color.
Right, open mic is. Oh, I can't press that, or teleport me out of here. So that's no good. Interesting, interesting. Right. Favorites. Okay, I can't actually see. Anyway, yeah, yeah. The open mic is. I don't think it's music oasis, but
Okay,
it's
all
something,
right. Yep,
something similar. Anyway, yeah.
something similar,
Right.
right?
Something similar this week. That way comes whatever. Right. Okay. So we got that. Yeah. I like the color there. I mean, the design is very mundane, but it's a
Yeah.
nice sort of shade of color
Mm-hmm.
on that t-shirt, although I can never tell because it always looks a different colour depending on which monitor I'm looking on.
Right, and what
There's
light we
so much,
have set up on it, right?
yeah, calibration, etc., etc. Anyway, that's good. And for those of you at home who don't know, James here is also fiddling behind the scenes. He's twiddling with knobs and stuff to change the position of my avatar on your screen. Also, he picks up my desktop. So you see that intermittently too as I'm talking about things. And basically just audio visual whiz. And he joins in the conversation a little bit, don't
Now
you?
and then, yep.
Yeah.
I'm here to make the magic happen.
Yeah. When he's not conjuring and waving the magic wand,
Right, right.
he sometimes puts that magic wand down for a second and gives us the pleasure of his voice and opinion even.
Once in a while.
Once in a while indeed. Okay, so, news from immersive spaces and virtual worlds, per se. We also look at a bit of VR haptics and stuff when they sort of come along. But strictly speaking, we're interested in virtual worlds and immersive spaces. So, there we go.
Hmm.
And what have I missed? Oh, yes, today is the 7th of November. And so,
Ooh.
our headlines today are for the week ending the 7th of November. like kind of auto magic, that, isn't it, really?
Mm.
If you hear some banging in the background, which I don't think you will anymore, but I'm hoping you don't anyway, we're 2 days past November the 5th. Here in England, that's bonfire night or firework night or whatever you call it. But it's an
Oh, right.
excuse. It's an excuse for people to shoot this stuff in the sky, which you can normally never see. It's so distant, but you sure as hell can hear it. And that should have been Friday. Because it was the weekend, I guess yesterday there was a bit of it too, but much to my horror, there was some of it here again today earlier.
Mm. Mm.
Maybe they don't think they're really meant to do that, but anyway. So yeah, that would just explain any noise. But it is November the 7th, and the headlines are for the week ending November the 7th. Accordingly, except of course when we get to Skull Ghost, because he's still in the week before. That's where we start always.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I thought this sound on this is going to be lousy, but I'm switching to the screen, or rather, James is switching to the screen. There's a Twitter account for somebody called Rosie VR. She's an artist, a VR artist based in the UK here, I think. Well, I know. I think she travels a bit these days. She's kind of one of the original sort of VR artists, and she's quite sort of popular. This came up on her blog, or a post somewhere, literally, probably in the last hour or something. So it's quite good because I thought I'd liven things up to start this off with, because it does show somebody at work in VR, and the camera's picking up her inside the VR environment as well as the work she's doing in VR. So you'll see it's got an odd sort of film. Yeah, actually, the bit that showed us sort of in the world is actually very brief in there. But I always find it sort of, it's slightly not disturbing. Just it always still takes me aback when the notion that the camera's picking her up in the virtual world, which is in a headset, and in which she is sort of creating. But it's not like picking up her avatar creating in the virtual world. Anybody can do that. But it's picking up her real self, who's inside a headset and they're doing it. So I don't know. It's probably mixing various sources together. But, good old stuff. That. Anyway, I'm going to put that away
Was
now.
that a particular platform, Mel? Or was that a...
Oh, right. I forget. I mean, it's obviously. I don't know which helmet she uses. I suspect it's Oculus.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's the now open sourced version of what was that painting out in Oculus a while back?
Oh, Tilt Brush or...
Tilt Brush, yeah. I think that I think's been abandoned per se, but is now
Yeah,
being
yeah.
taken up open source, and I
Hmm.
think that's what she's using, but without actually having a page. Well, it wasn't a page I got it from. It was just a video on her feed. So.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how come I've sort of got it separately from anything else.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to put the video player away. That would conserve a little bit of memory. Um, oh, no. Oh, good. No, 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 no. Oh dear, I've got an email client opening. Never mind, that's it. Right, okay, so we're on to some other pictures now. This is the bit of the show where I'm supposed to sing tweets and pieces, and what's the other turn? Pics and pics and pieces,
Pix-
twits and twits and pics and twits and pieces. Da 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 da. Never mind. Anyway, just a couple this week, to be honest. From Bloomberg, I thought this had to happen, didn't it? You know, headline: Microsoft's own metaverse is coming, and it will have PowerPoint. Gosh golly. The software maker is embracing the buzzy concept, gosh golly, with new products next year. So there you go. It will have, oh, never mind. Right. Oh, this is funny. Our MPs in Britain have been told to wear masks in Parliament again. um, the Rees-Mogg guy, yet again, is the only one who ain't. It's not, he's normally asleep, horizontal on the benches, but I guess it was too crowded for him when that news was breaking. Anyway, what else have I got here? Oh yes, this was okay. Yeah, I don't have a copy of this in. I don't think I've got it yet. Anyway, the any kind of recording. The reality of the metaverse is with Charlie Fink there and Tony Parisi, who's from Unity. Charlie Fink is from Chapman University. Raffaella Camera. It's got to be an avatar name if I've heard one. She's from Epic, and this chat Rick is from NVIDIA, so it's got quite a wide-ranging chat there. Where are we? No, we don't want that. Really, we don't want that either. Okay, now another piece of news from the God Emperor. He wants his robots to wear his skin, or your robots to wear his skin. Yeah, has this thing about robots, but he also has this thing about the artificial skin, which have tactile stuff all built into it. And I'm sure it doesn't mean it the way it sounds, but it's, when you talk about wearing a skin in a virtual world, you're normally strapping on it's either a skin created by a creator to look like a sort of character, or it's actually a photographically mapped surface on the skin. And the idea of having a robot, running around doing my house cleaning, wearing Mark Zuckerberg is not an attractive proposition. So there we are. This is okay, I believe that's got to be the tongue. Hasn't it? I'm going to pass on that one. It's genuine news, but it's a bit rude.
No,
Right,
okay.
moving up. Where are we? Oh yes, this is great. Getting you to sign up to a site called Followers to follow your Twitter feed and whatever. And this is the result you get. Sorry, it looks like you have not lost or gained any followers since we started tracking for you. There's nothing to show you. Check again tomorrow. This is actually different from the one I meant to screen capture. The screen capture said, we're sorry, we can't do this. You've got too many followers. So that the first message I got from them was they couldn't accommodate any analysis because I had too many people in my following list. Anyway, right. Back to the God Emperor's company again, under its the parent company under its new name. They're already reportedly planning to open retail outlets to sell VR, AR, and other digital connection tools. Announced on November the 5th. I always sort of spark when I see November the 5th, just like I would when it would be April the 1st. I'd just write it off as an April Fool's joke, but sadly not in this case. Okay, Somnium Space, I don't really cover that much here, and oh my goodness gracious me, it's gone all weirdly again. Real size, no good either. Zoom out. There we are. Right, I'm just putting this up. I pulled it off one of their feeds in Twitter or something like that. This shows their interoperability chart. Now, some of space make a lot of noise about themselves, and they Twitter a lot of news articles, but they all end up pointing to their own website. They cleverly or less cleverly disguised, adverts for their own site, really. But I find the schematic quite interesting. The way that their wallet connects to the marketplace. Of course, it's all Somnium. Well, there's Somnium Marketplace, although the OpenSea Marketplace is an open source one. Polygon, I'm not sure. I think they are. I think they're asset suppliers of one sort or another. And now we're going off to Near NFTs, whatever they are, and Solana NFTs. And a lot of this is actually lost on me, but I thought it was worth putting that out because it might actually mean something to some of you. And yeah, all the blockchain stuff and the NFTs are the Ethereum main net, which is obviously the virtual currency they use there. Anyway, all right, this is just a cartoon that came up. A century of social networking. And as you can see, texts are on the bookshelf. I love this one. FaceTime is a mirror. A laptop is a cloth hung over a cloth bag hanging over the seat. Pinterest, I can't really tell. Tumblr is a spilt can. Spotify's a vinyl record player. Facebook is a photo album. Twitter is a newspaper. Messenger is mail, unopened. Cloud storage, etc. It's an interesting little thing here. This prompted me for something else too. Zoom is a telephone. Tinder is, can't even tell. Oh crumbs! What was it I was thinking of here? Okay, I've got the picture up, and I've forgotten what that was actually prompting me to tell you. FaceTime, Tinder, laptop, Pinterest, Tumblr, Spotify. I can't remember. Okay, it might come to me later in the show, whatever it was. But I have something to comment with that. Right, moving on. This is actually tomorrow. For 3 days, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh no, a whole week. In Pisa, in Italy. Pisa. Not pizza. If you happen to be in Italy, they've got the 26th International Conference on Web 3D Technology. This is a screenshot for their actual site. Their logo's up there in the corner. And if you go to Web 3D Conference, I think it was, actually, they don't. It's usual that you think they put it on the picture. But anyway, I'm sure you can Google it and find it easily enough. Web 3D in Pisa in Italy. Starting tomorrow for the whole week, basically. And 3D web technology obviously includes virtual worlds that actually work on the web, on a web page or whatever, in particular. And obviously, I'm not sure the significance of this, but I did read from somebody in Janus VR, which is another web-based world, that they thought it was the first time, the first time they'd actually seen it, and they wondered if it was the first time it had actually happened. But they loaded a world on a tab in a web browser, and then they entered it. And then once they'd entered this, all within the tab, they teleported, to another location or clicked for another location or whatever, and potted around really. But when they exited the world, right at the end of their little explore, they found themselves on a completely different web page. It was as if all these instances, instances of the Web 3D were on all the different venues, so to speak, were on different web pages. And instead of logging you out from the tab you logged in with, they log you out from the tab that represents the site you've actually got to. So it's like web links, you're clicking away inside a tab, and it's responding as if you were clicking away, going from one website to the other. So I thought that was odd. I'd never heard of that before, but apparently it can be done in Janus VR, I believe. Right, moving on. Oh, lovely. Never mind. That's nothing to do with anybody. Okay. Oh yes, of course. I forget James has got. Did you sit on him or what?
Nope.
Anyway,
Just standing by for
yeah,
his cue.
he sure woke up when he saw that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I should have known there was a reason for the cat to be here. Right. Nike is going all in on its metaverse play. Yes, the M word, and who knows what they think it is. As revealed by this is in a business site called Insider, revealed by our analysis of 3 years of patents and some key executive moves. This it's just cute. This is actually cute. Nike, who obviously you see their shoes in particular on everywhere, and their name sponsors all sorts of things on. It's on t-shirts and everything else too. Apparently, they've been calling it a Metaverse, and they have actually been working on using it for, obviously in their case, PR, for over 3 years. So they've got a bit of a head start on good old Suki. Um, but I thought that was sort of interesting anyway. Right, what we got there? Oh, we can hardly see this one at all. Okay, I'm going to read this out barely. Sharon Lanier and others argue that VR can train ourselves to see reality in new ways. As we notice subtle nuances in virtual representations, then perhaps we'll be able to perceive deeper layers of reality. Lanier believes we'll evolve to always be able to perceive such differences. That would be in my lifetime, but there you go. And yeah, I think that's about it for the picture party, so to speak, for this week. Yeah, I can't find anything new there. Okay, well, I'm going to put that one away too. So I'm slowly exiting all my memory training sort of stuff, including this. I don't need that one open anymore. Right, fully quitted. Fully quitted. Right. No, not sure it wants to. Okay, sorry. Ah, there we go. Done. Right. Okay, so I'm moving on now to web page links. You'll find all these at twitter.com/Mal Burns. And if you follow the links, you recognize the titles. If you follow the links from there, you will get straight through to the web pages you're seeing on screen here. Sadly, if you simply go to the websites that I read out to you, they're normally front pages. So it's anybody's guess what you'll get on the front page. Probably the latest news or whatever, or maybe a guide to recent posts. But if having a problem finding anything, go to my Twitter feed at twitter.com/Mal Burns. Anyway, this one we are starting off once again with the first of the week with the scarredghost.com. I mean, how? I don't know whether it's a Halloween or bonfire night. Probably a bit of both, actually. But anyway, the ghost howls. He does indeed. SKARREDGHOST.com. And this was posted on November 1st, which was, of course, Monday. And it's about the week before last. So this is the only link I'm posting here, which is actually about not the week just gone by, but the week before that. If you go there tomorrow, scarredghost.com, you'll probably find the latest one, especially if you leave it into later in the day, so to speak. Anyway, it's his normal roundup of things. Facebook becomes Meta, for example. God, that's news. I haven't heard that before. You get the idea. This is the best of old news. That's the best way of putting it, isn't it? Yeah. Tony's best of old news.
The news that was. I've heard that
That
before.
was the news that was. Yes,
All right.
exactly. Although that program was somewhat different.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It covers a few games like Walking Dead, Saints and Singers. Sony reported to be launching a mobile headset. Google is still into XR, apparently. And anyway, yeah, there are a number of links here, as you might expect. So if you look that up and there's anything you missed or if you fancy to know more about, there's probably a link in that page that will take you to what you need, so to speak. So I'm moving on to voicesofvr.com, which we do have here quite a lot. Voicesofvr.com. Now, this is a podcast, so if you look up Voices of VR in just about any podcast clients, you will be able to subscribe to it. But if not, you can come to the website, which sometimes includes additional articles. voicesofvr.com. Remember that because there's about 5 others this week. Same address. The number at the beginning of this post is referring to the episode number. They're now on 1012, will you believe? They're talking about the decentralized metaverse, combining VR and blockchain towards an economy of the imagination with Boost VC's Adam Draper. Boost, I guess, is venture capitalists, and they are, yeah, they've funded over 70 VR companies and 100 cryptocurrencies, gosh golly, since 2012. So basically, the interview here is with venture capitalists and guests, sort of, discussing what's there, what's been done, and what qualifies to get venture capitalists, maybe. Oh, an accelerator for sci-fi, but I think their reach is a bit broader than that. Anyway, that is Voices of VR number 1012. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. They're not adjacent to each other on my list here, but I'm going to jump down as best I can to the earlier ones. Right. 1016. Right. This is called Unpacking Connect 2021. And he's talking to Ben Lang from Road to VR website about Facebook's Meta rebrand, Metaverse, inverted commas, and interoperability, aspirations, and XR privacy. He says he's unpacking Connect. The Connect conference, of course, was where Zuckerberg sort of delivered all that news. So here he is reflecting a little bit on that, all those announcements, but also talking to Ben Lang to sort of a greater discussion on the matter, so to speak. So once again, voicesofvr.com is the website, and Voices of VR you'll find it in any podcast player if you want to actually subscribe to it. So this one is 1016. They do come up in a slightly odd order, I have to admit. Anyway, moving down. I think there's another one, at least one more here somewhere. God. Right, 1017 this one is. Right, okay. This is the Virtual Beings Summit and a recap. Incentive Design Web3 and Virtual Worlds to train AGI with Edward Saatchi. So Edward Saatchi, I guess, is the person being interviewed here. He's one of the co-founders of the Oculus Story Studio, bringing together storytellers and game designers. The Oculus thing was shuttered in May 2017. His company Fable Studio took over and was able to continue development of a piece with Neil Gaiman, of course, called Wolves in Walls. Wolves in Walls. Right, I'm not reading any more of this. It's tongue twister territory. Right. Anyway, yeah. So always good. Kent Byers' broadcasts and interviews are always good. Sometimes there's a lot of him and investigating what's going on, and sometimes it's strictly him, the interviewer, sort of interviewing the people he interviews, basically. Now, believe it or not, that was 1017. I think there's yet another one still at the bottom of the list. Oh, there's two more. I knew there's a BT day for this. Right, 1013. 1013 episode. This is talking about Tony Parisi's Metaverse Manifesto and his 7 rules for the Metaverse. A lot of talk going on about this. I have been in Clubhouse and on Discord and all over the place, actually, in groups that are talking about this. I particularly don't like the idea of 7 rules. Sort of 7 principles maybe or something. I just don't like the idea of rules per se. Anyway, Tony Parisi published this manifesto at the end of October, and Ken Byers pulled him in for an audio interview, basically. So they chatted away on the subject. So you again, voicesofvr.com. And finally, only for this bit, number 1018. This one's called Unpacking Protopia Futures Framework, Deconstructing Dune and Critiquing Metaverse Sci-Fi with Monica Bayliss. Well, however you pronounce it. This was good. I've yet to fully listen to this, I have to admit, but this will be this one's grabbed me because it's sci-fi. And I'm not sure about deconstructing Dune. It has anything to do with metaverses, but I mean it's Now, there's been some interesting reviews about Dune, like the magnificence and the very tasteful way they've handled special effects, and you don't even notice them half the time. Although equally, a lot of people are saying it moves too slowly and whatever. But anyway, deconstructing. That's what it's all about. You watch something and then you deconstruct it and come away thinking, why did I watch it in the first place? I've spoiled it for myself, haven't I? Anyway, okay, he looks at the Protopia Futures Framework and 7 principles by which they're operating. Celebration of presence, community beyond borders, plurality beyond binaries, symbiotic spirit. You can see how they might sort of touch on virtuality and that sort of thing. Anyway, they're all audio podcasts. I can't play them here. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. We'd be here till tomorrow, wouldn't we? As I said, I'm going to head back up to the top again. A lot of Voices of VR this week. I've forgotten already. Was it 5, 6? I don't know. Right, okay, moving on. And the blog at Unity. Now, talking to Tony Parisi, he, of course, works at Unity these days. Now, this isn't one of his blogs, but Unity, they've got something called Unity Slices, table and a look into the future of social mixed reality. This is a web page. It's one of these things that won't convert into my reader, as you can probably tell. The Unity Labs, Facebook's Connect, oddly enough, shared new proof of concept Unity Slices to show how pass-through VR can support mixed reality social experiences focused on tangible interfaces. Okay, well, this gets very technical, but I mean, I know where they're going with this, and it's interesting. And remember this, they mention Oculus and VR and general stuff, but remember this is Unity, and short of the Unreal Engine, I mean, Unity probably are the lead, with Unreal, basically are the leading game creation platform, although you can produce video, you can do all sorts of things in Unity a long way beyond games and virtual worlds. So bit of technical stuff here really, but if you want to find out more, you need to go to blog.unity.com. Unity is Unity, of course, there. All right, moving on. And oh god, it's that F word again. Okay, well, this is a post from shoutoutuk.org. So SHOUTOUT UK org. So that was OUT twice. You can shoutoutuk.org, all one word. Right. The God Emperor's M word is nothing but a smokescreen. It's been a rough couple of years for the company formerly known as. Once upon a time, this was a site used primarily for viewing your aunt's new kittens. Now it's being implicated in genocide, knowingly harming teenagers' mental health and unraveling Western democracy. It comes as no surprise then that Marcus Zuckerberg thinks the social media giant formerly known as had a rebrand into a company committed to building the next chapter of social connection. The apps held under this umbrella company will stay the same, and the motive is to put distance between tarnished name and the future envisages. So, oh dear. God, it's hard work censoring stuff while you're talking, isn't it? Right. Anyway, as you can see, quite a lot of warnings about what's going on here. I know a lot of us old timers, as it were, in virtual worlds like to think the M word and what it was a fanciful target, aspiration for the future. But now it's been hijacked by certain narrow-minded and short-sighted people. Guess who they're talking about? Things may be changing. So shout out UK shoutout.org, shoutout.uk.org on that one. And I've lost my place now. There we are. Right. So, hey, M word. I made a M word. No, hey, F word. I made an M word 27 years ago. This is a post from somebody that Essen Zuckerman in a magazine called The Atlantic over in the States. TheAtlantic.com. And it says it all really. But it's the subtitle that really gets me. It was terrible then, and it's terrible now. Of course, yeah, the God Emperor's just made things worse, I should think. I mean, it's sort of true. I don't know, I certainly remember prototype sort of virtual world experiences or immersive spaces on CD-ROMs for sure. But that was before we had the online connectivity of multiplayer, sort of in collaboration things. Um, it's but anyway, um, uh, this is a kind of interesting look back on somebody's own thing. It's a good little history lesson rather than some kind of promotion. They're looking at Stevenson's novel, of course, William Gibson novels from the 80s. And both of those authors, they say, are adept to Morton Helligs, and I don't know who this is, but he had a novel in 1962 called The Sensorama. Actually, I think the Sensorama machine was actually a piece of technology, not a novel, but never mind. Where they got their ideas from, basically. And they mentioned Tripod and then GeoCities and okay, and he's talking about the one they did. What was it? 27 years. They skinned an MOO, an online environment meant for multiplayer games. And come on, tell us the name of what it was you did. Okay, but here's the thing: the MOO was absolute garbage. Um, Boss pulled the plug and said, I can't use it, and I certainly can't say it to investors, but I know it's the future. Oh, that's interesting. Right. Okay, as you can see, there's a fair bit to read here. If you like little anecdote stuff on things from the past and stuff that are relevant to what's happening now, that's quite good. I have to say this photo is fairly remarkable in that I think that is a helmet that beats all the helmets I've seen recently. It's certainly noticeable. Although, oddly enough, in a weird way, it actually looks more like a helmet that does what it says on the box, if you see what I mean. Very circular, sort of. Well, it's probably a villain in Star Wars or something. Never mind. Okay, so theatlantic.com is where you can find that little, well, not review, an article. Right, now I mentioned this at the top of the show. Microsoft have a metaverse and there will be PowerPoint. Gosh, golly what. Okay, Microsoft Teams is getting avatars. They're launching in VR and AR next year. Teams is getting metaverse-ified with hopes of being the Zoom for VR. Yeah, that's the promo picture. I think we're going to see a bit of this. It seems to be the main picture on Charlie Fisk's roundup and stuff. There isn't really a Zoom for VR yet, despite many companies offering virtual meeting rooms and blah, blah, blah. So they think Microsoft are actually going after that, just as, in fact, Teams was launched, in the COVID, well, it was updated in the COVID point, to compete with Zoom. Originally, it was to compete with Slack, so they seem to be reinventing Teams as the years and months go by to compete with whoever's getting all the main traction. As Microsoft will, they've always got an answer for everything else, really. And there's a screenshot, I guess, of some people actually in Teams, and it's nice in a way. I don't know who any of the people are actually, but the woman at the lower right, for example, is clearly an avatar, as there's the woman to the left of her. But then you've got webcam, where, oh yeah, and at the top right there's an avatar too, and Camilla or whatever she is, top left, seems a bit of both. I think she is actually an avatar, although equally you get some sort of very. I'm very struck. Not degrading anybody with this, but sometimes I'm looking at Chinese or Japanese real world characters, especially teens and their odd sense of dress, and they'll be against. They'll actually be on webcam, but they'll be against fictional background, and sometimes you almost slip and thinking, that's actually, is that an avatar or is that a person? Because it's the way their bone structure is, the way they wear makeup is very like a lot of avatars, and it's like a real life manga look, which is be very popular. Anyway, won't go there, but anyway, that's a screenshot from the New Look teams. That is not the that's obviously a test because that's not the actual version that's live at the moment. They haven't brought it in yet. And they make a point that the avatars aren't actually the same as the one Microsoft already has in AltSpace VR. These ones are designed to be more lifelike and less overtly cartoonish. Yeah. So that CNET, very major popular site now, cnet.com is where you'll find that little article. Moving on here, the Culture DAO. I'm not sure what DAO stands for. I should know this. This is venturebeat.com. To sort of get a Dean Takahashi at their GamesBeat section. So venturebeat.com. And this is a little teaser about virtual beings.
First off, Edward, thank you for having me on your show.
Okay, right. I'll let you read the article separately. I didn't mind that. I don't know why they you can see the black area where the video is meant to be. I don't know why it appears as a very really small small video in a video kind of thing. Anyway, this is a look back at the Virtual Beings Summit, which is an online event where real people talk about fake people. That's actually pretty good description of what we do all day long here, I think. We go online as real people and talk about fake people.
But we're real people.
Yeah, or maybe we're fake. No, actually, we're fake people talking about real people. Because the news, if I'm talking about the real world in the news, then I'm a fake person talking about the real. Never mind. Right, we're part of a society that's trying to create virtual beings, character with artificial intelligence brains that behave as if they were real, basically. So virtual beings is it's a whole lot of things. I often think of it as almost a subsidiary of the singularity. Sort of, with reference only to virtual beings as opposed to a bit of everything. Here's a question for everybody. Replies on the postcard, please, to I don't know, Facebook. Which will come first, the singularity or Zuckerbergiverse?
The Zuckerbergiverse will come and go before the singularity.
Yeah,
that's my vote. If you're taking votes.
Yeah, answers on a postcard, please, just wherever you want to send them. I obviously won't be counting them, but you can tweet your answer.
You can do that.
You tweet your answer and you put at Mal Burns, and I will get it because anything addressed to me individually comes straight through with a robot into Telegram. So I don't miss it if you mention me by name. Otherwise, I miss a lot. Right, okay. Right, they gathered together the first time startups across Web3D, the decentralized metaverse, AI, virtual influencers, intelligent NFTs, and digital identity. It's the brainchild of Saatchi, CEO of Virtual Beings company, Fable Studio, and his friends, and of course, uh, um, the Saatchi CEO, I think, was the same one that was featured in Ken Bias, Voices of VR one. There's a webinar there you can watch on demand. Did I actually keep this one? Um, well, I thought that was a video, but it's not. So sorry, I'm just going to go back and stop experimenting while you're all watching me. Right, okay, so venturebeat.com for more on that. venturebeat.com. And moving down, this is Immersive Web Weekly. This is all one word. IMmersiveWebWeekly.com. So yeah, Immersive Web Weekly, looking at basically virtual worlds and immersive spaces that are actually on the web, so to speak, and actually included. And this sometimes includes stuff that can be used in the Oculus browser too, WebXR. It's all coming along. Pretty, a lot of people working on this. I think there's probably more people working on WebXR and progressive web support. Than there are actually on standalone clients for virtual worlds at the moment. Anyway, Cisco announced a WebXR plugin called Hologram, which is for the WebEx conferencing system, and right, they're accepting requests for demos. A lot of people think WebEx is only subscription, from Cisco, but there is a publicly usable version of it, although I presume things like the hologram stuff won't be in the public one until it's tested wherever else they do it. Or maybe they'll use the public version to test it. Who knows? Anyway, I like this bit at the top. It says 20 verses about Meta. I forget who it is, but it's Epic Games, right? Last week, Zuckerberg grabbed the word Meta. Epic Games this week have grabbed the word verses or verse, but it's a scripting language or a building language. It's not a, it's well, I don't know. They've called it verses. I guess they just thought we're just, it's fairly meaningless, but we'll give him a little kick in the teeth or something. Anyway, so Epic Games now have I think it's either scripting or authoring language or something that's actually called Verses. So yeah. Kick out JavaScript. We use Verses. I don't know. Right. So immersivewebweekly.com for that little item. Moving on down, I'm getting quite quick today, I'm realizing, because there are quite a few things there. Right, oh Lord. Right, the Mark Zuckerberg aesthetic, right? With his plans for a virtual reality metaverse, the Facebook founder pictures himself as a cultural impresario of the internet's future. He confronts his own avatar. Blah, blah, blah. What do you get for the man who has everything? How about a vivid fantasy world of his own design? Yes, fantasy being the operative word, quite possibly. A virtual fish will swim in the sky. Oh God, I've got a background to one of my Zoom calls that has virtual fish flying around my room, not the sky. Never mind. Okay. His personal style is expeditious, like a comic book character. He seems to have a closet full of unindividuated outfits. They're criticising him a bit, personally. There, why not? I says. Right. So anyway, this is actually the New York Times. So you go to nytimes.com to learn about the Zuckerberg aesthetic. That's going to be a new trend, isn't it, or meme or something? The Zuckerberg aesthetic. Can't see anybody wanting to copy it, mind you. All right. This is a post at Reuters.com, Reuters.com. And guess what? This is on Monday. Metaverse pioneers unimpressed by Facebook's rebrand. Early adopters of virtual worlds criticised Facebook's rebranding as an attempt to capitalise on growing buzz over a concept that it didn't even create. It's become a tech buzzword this year, with companies and investors keen to be part of the next big thing. But users have for years been spending time in these fast-growing but obscure virtual worlds. Link to read more, of course. They're essentially trying to build what many of us have been building for years, but rebrand it as their own. An American said, who for more than 2 years has hosted meetups in different metaverses, etc., etc. So, always good. You know, it is the Reuters and the New York Timeses and, you know, these big media outlets really have got the message that the God Emperor is definitely getting out of control. I think that's my message anyway. Right, moving on. Did I give... Yes, Reuters.com for that one. Right, next one is a site at Medium, but I don't think it's behind a paywall. It's 10.medium.com. So it's onezero.medium.com. And no one asked for the Metaverse. Well, we asked for something, but we didn't ask for that. Right, Matthew McFarlane here. In a recent article in The Atlantic, a different one from the one we had earlier, the Metaverse is bad, asking, do we as a society actually want a Metaverse? But what's happened here? Okay, let me just see if I can switch to the website here. Yeah, for some reason it didn't all come to on my screen, did it? So here we got the website. Put differently, are there any reasons beyond the machinations of a handful of powerful corporations and the dreary utopian dreaming of tech enthusiasts that the creation of the Metaverse is a worthwhile project? If you weren't aware, etc., etc. What we actually get, only time will tell. Well, fair enough. That's usually the case, isn't it? What we know almost for certain is that the Metaverse will not be the second coming of the internet. There's too much at stake, too few companies with too much capital vying to be the ultimate provider of the daily escape into the Metaverse. The tech oligarchy has become too shrewd about data advertising and power to let an opportunity of this magnitude pass without attempting to thoroughly dominate it. Facebook, of course, has already made such plans, and they're well known. This alone shall give us all pause about what lies beyond the headset. Impossible to know what it looked like, but also difficult to understand just how users will stand to benefit. So, I'm not reading out the whole article. As you can see, there's a fair amount of it. It doesn't show up in my reader, so presumably you would have to go... Well, you would probably be going to the website anyway. Okay, it really goes into a lot of the social implications too of... going back to cyberspace, I know it's a word that was coined many years ago by William Gibson. I think he coined it. And cyberpunk was a sort of genre he created, at least. You get these, not the dystopian advertising-ridden thing that Zuckerberg seems to think of, but very depressing, a bit like the ground level sort of scenario in things like Blade Runner. You know, the city is so many stories high, and those on the ground level are literally living in the sewers. But within that, there's people with second-hand technology rigging up things. You know, technology. There's so much throwaway technology that people could make things up with it. And it's they're actually citing something a bit more like that as being a sort of end game. So it's quite interesting here. If realized, the metaverse could become the ultimate company town, a mega-scale Amazon that rolls up raw materials, supply chains, manufacturing, distribution, and use, and all its related discourse into one single service. It's the black hole of consumption. Right, good. Some interesting thoughts. That's probably one of the better actual articles to read this week, if I had to recommend one. As I say, it's at medium.com. And yeah, you get 2 articles left to read every month, basically, without subscribing. But there are a number of plugins and things that you can use to bypass their paywall if you need to. But I'm not advertising those here because one doesn't do those sort of things, does one? Right. Again, moving back. We're back to Yahoo! The Scar Ghost. You can hear him fading into the distance now. I guess Halloween is over, so the wolf is departing. Still howling away, but departing from the scene of the crime. Anyway, Rendeavor makes the lives of seniors better using VR. Rendeavor, I've definitely know we've mentioned them before at various points. The idea is to make life of elderly better using virtual reality. Right, Rendeavor Fit, for example, is aimed at providing VR fitness experiences for seniors, etc., etc. Anyway, Tony, or rather Scar Ghost, had the pleasure of speaking with Tom Newman, the CTO of Rendeavor, about all this work. And what is published here, basically, is the interview. It's an actually written transcript of the interview, as opposed to Ken Bai, who actually gives us audio. Scar Ghost actually transcribes it all for us. It's hard work transcribing an interview, believe me. It's much easier to put it on the actual audio online. Anyway, so that's just scarghost.com yet again. Moving down. Metaverse. Transformational challenges ahead. Right, the birth of Meta and the adoption of new compute platforms. Right. Right, Zuckerberg has been under fire for many months about dating much activities of the company, and to some extent, the new branding and launch of Meta was seen as shadowing the allegations the company is currently facing in the courts all over the bloody world. I'm hastening to add. Okay, they're talking about the younger Gen Y audience and stuff, which Facebook's lost them. Basically, they're actually, they were the first Facebook generation, but they've now long gone. But they still use Instagram and Snap, which is Facebook. Sorry, Instagram owned by Facebook, of course. So they've tended to move on. Wise kids. Well, the kids are wise, aren't they? The kids are all right. There's my song for the day. James laughing. He's probably laughing so he cover up the fact he's cringing the moment I attempt to sing.
Not at all. It's fine.
All right. Where are we? Well, I can't sing, so don't blame me for cringing. Right. Okay. Again, it's a reedy thing here. Actually, not sure. Neil Singh is a very familiar name. Anyway, this is right up to date. Just yesterday, I think, in Medium, this was published. Fact is not new, etc., etc. Equity and inclusion are a deciding factor. No, God Emperor. You have to learn that yourself. You do. Yes, you do. Sorry, just telling him. I'm avoiding him saying what inclusion and equity means. Right, you get the idea. That's what I need. Instead of a pussycat, I need a pet Zuckerberger that I can. I can vent. I wonder if I can program Alexa or one. Oops. one of my other things to be a Zuki, and then I can vent all day long. Of course, don't know what the replies will be. Mind you, it might not be such a good idea. Maybe just a punch bag. Oh dear, I'm getting out of hand. They're going to kick me. They're kicking myself off this show soon. Right, okay, so you can find this post at medium.com, medium.com. You may actually have to look up, well, follow my Twitter feed, you'll get directly there, but you may actually need to look up Neil Singh on who's the author of the article. If you know Medium, you'll know that you can look up an author and it then gives you all their articles in sort of descending order of publishing, so to speak. So medium.com for that one. Moving on down. Thefastcompany.com. Oh, right, I've actually dropped the fast. It's just Fast Company. FASTCOMPANY.com. And F wants to build out M. And M are creating something even more ambitious. Right, rather than ruling one M, Microsoft wants its mesh platform to be the glue that holds together a multiverse of many. Well, there's a lot of M's here. Many worlds together. Yeah, we got mesh, we got multiverse, and we got many. Yeah, four new M's from Microsoft. Yeah, something. Right. We saw that picture earlier. It's advertising the same thing there. Same plugin here for Teams, basically. I'm not too averse to that, but I mean, once again, we've got this terrible business of I know plenty of people who get legless all the time, but I don't think they're people who want to go into a virtual world. So what makes Microsoft, like so many others, think that being legless as an avatar is a good thing? I really, really don't know. I suppose they put the table at the right height to cuff. If you're filming them, at least you can't see under the tabletop. Well, you probably can. It's transparent, come to think of it. No, never mind. Anyway, I'm a bit fussy about the old aesthetics. I am. Right. Right, they discussed similarities between what Microsoft was showing and what Zuckerberg was showing. Companies make their own 3D branded spaces in both platforms, etc., etc. This is interesting. While Facebook or Meta wants to own the metaverse, Microsoft would rather power it. Interesting distinction. I'm not really well, of course Microsoft have hardware, a lot of hardware, not just helmets. Yeah. Okay, comparing the dystopian view with AOL and CompuServe, etc. Back in the day, you remember those? Best forgotten, actually. Why use an avatar at all? Quite a few questions asked in that one, so quite an interesting article here. You'll find it at fastcompany.com, fastcompany.com. And moving on again, we're now, this is the easy one, vox.com, vox.com. Making a point that Facebook, the social network company, is backing away from facial recognition. Now, we knew this already, but Meta, in other words, the parent company, isn't. It's still evidence that they're working on similar or the same technology as Meta to be part of the metaverse thing that they envisage. So just because they won't be tracking your face on Facebook, your social feed, doesn't mean they're going to be not using it at all. And they claim they're actually going to delete all the scans that made up the templates and everything else like that. But between the lines, they seem to be saying they're going to shut it off. They're now saying they're going to shut off facial recognition, which is the one that uses an algorithm to identify people in photos on Facebook. So they're going to shut it down. That does not mean they are deleting the whole thing. They will clearly keep everything they've got. That is a kind of motto of Facebook, isn't it? Grab everything data-wise and keep it. Uh, Basically, Meta is keeping Deepface, which I think is another project, which is sophisticated algorithm that powers its photo tagging facial recognition feature. So they're still playing ahead with all that. I'm not going. It's another one is micro movies inside a big movie. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm not going to play it. So you'll find this at vox.com, vox.com, and I guess well, the article is called "Facebook is backing away from facial recognition. Meta isn't." This was on November the 3rd, which would have been Wednesday, wouldn't it? Midweek. So yeah. But remember, you can go to twitter.com/Mal Burns and click on the headline there, and it will take you direct link to the right page. Right now, this is a very well-known site. This one called The Economist, ECONOMIST.com. They're pretty much an international magazine now. Technically they're still qualified as a newspaper, and they're based in the UK here. But if you buy one print magazine a week, I mean, I always used to buy this for years and years every week because I didn't need to read newspapers. It was all summarised in a very sort of neutral way in the weekly. Anyway, this is an article by Herman Narula, who is he's from Improbable. I mentioned Improbable before. They started out in Cambridge in the UK here. They're now based in London, but um, they designed an underlying kind of framework for virtual worlds, and a lot of games like Hello Games and people use their Improbable base layer, as it were, to build on. And I was quite excited when they first appeared because I thought, well, we talk about interoperability and common protocols and things like that. It's very hard, I don't know. Improbable are in an odd position now because they are commercial these days. They're not at Cambridge University anymore, and they're not open source. Basically, what they're doing sounds like the sort of thing that if it works and is good, it should be open source, but it isn't. So there is a danger of just as a lot of worlds are built with Unity, others are built with Unreal. Others will be developed on Improbable, which isn't so much an authoring thing as an underlying thing. Sure, instances built on the Improbable platform will probably talk to each other, which is great, but whether they'll be able to talk out and beyond, I don't know. Anyway, this is actually their CEO, Herman Nuala, Improbable CEO, talking about why the M word matters. And obviously, this is the M word according to Improbable, who've been improbably around for about 10 years. So they've got a decade or so on the God Emperor, actually, at this point. Okay, lots to read in that one. The Economist is always a meaty read, magazine of meaty articles. So economist.com for that one, or just follow the link on my Twitter feed. Getting somewhere now. The Metaverse will mostly be for work. This is at a site called qz.com, or for the benefit of Americans out there, I believe you pronounce it qz.com. 2 letters. And Scott Hover is talking about the Metaverse here, as he sees it, and he reckons it will be mostly for work. I love the caption on this picture. That apparently is a man using a VR headset. Wouldn't you know? Yeah. A man uses a VR headset. Yeah, this is... Oh, I've never seen this before. This is like an astronaut walking into a rocket and taking off. A man becomes an astronaut. No, never mind. It just... who knows? Right, okay, looking at the technology. Referencing Belson... oh, but never mind. Neil Stevenson again. Is VR technology ready for this? How does it change what's possible in teaching? Work and enterprise are going to be huge parts of the metaverse. Why? What are the main use cases? Talk about Google Glass there. Has the pandemic sped up our path to the M word while breaking down important barriers around remote work? What do you think about social media companies like F becoming interested in building the metaverse? Okay, questions and answers, as ever. So, good, yeah, a good little read there. It's the person they're talking to here is Jeremy Belson, who's from Stanford, of course. And he has been thinking about virtual reality and the M word for decades. As of 2020, he even teaches it, but then they go on to tell you about all that. So that is qz.com, or qz, as we all say, .com. 2 letters there, Q and a Z. Right, moving on. Jeremy's a great talker as well. Right, this week in XR. This is the written roundup of the week from Charlie Fink at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. Microsoft Mesh, Metaverse, DigiLens, Sandbox, holding big rounds, blah, 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 blah. Again, it is a kind of roundup. I'm not going to repeat what's there. There is stuff, particularly hardware and entertainment-wise, that Charlie will cover that I don't. So, yeah. I believe I did get the podcast come through to me on Spotify, by the way, but I haven't been able to find the YouTube version. I won't actually click it on now. I'm going to click here very quickly, but I've got an alert set for it. 10:20. Right, yeah. It's like the one with Fit Rosedale a few weeks ago. It just hasn't appeared in video at all. So if you want to look up the past ones, just go to This Week in XR at YouTube. That's the page I'm on there at the moment. Before I carefully jump back. I said jump back. There we are. It needs 2 clicks to get out of Google these days. All right. Anyway, good roundup of the week. It always is. It's very brief. It's just a very good time to go to the end of the week to get a roundup of what's been going on. Either the podcast or the YouTube cast is in many ways a lot more interesting because they're actually talking, ad-libbing about the issues rather than just making a post listing the things that have happened. Anyway, so Forbes.com for that. And we're back on Stanford University again. Right. Stanford class allows students to learn about virtual reality while fully immersed in VR environments. An innovative classroom experience lets students directly experience the wide-ranging possibilities of virtual reality as a cutting-edge medium. This isn't really that new. Plenty of other people are doing it, but they're actually referring here to Stanford's Virtual People course. Basically, you got Stanford, haven't you? So it's not like the high school at Puddleton on Marsh having a course. Again, they're referencing Jeremy Belson. In a way, some of this is repeating. I think both articles, this and the one a few minutes ago, so taken from probably a press release from Stanford, although the fundamental read is a bit different. So this one is directly from Stanford itself. So it's news Stanford Edu, NEWS dot STANFORD dot EDU. And carrying on down, the F word and the M word in 2 adjacent words here. FM is a dystopian and poses terrifying danger to humanity, say the critics. Gosh golly, what's happening here? Do you mean it's worse than the environment? Probably is. No, nothing could be worse than that, can you? I know. I would like to know what I'm meant to be seeing that is not there. I'm going to check the webpage. Oh, yes, it's that picture. I don't know why it didn't come through. I remember that picture. Okay, but all the text is here by the look of it. Okay. They liken it to an idea, Zuckerberg's metaverse, that is, idea straight out of the Black Mirror writer's room. You're not alone. A number of prominent voices have expressed their concerns with the idea. One of these is David Reed at Liverpool Hope University. He believes the metaverse may potentially bring some exciting possibilities to humankind, but it runs the risk of drastically deepening the existing problems with social media and the internet, such as data privacy concerns and cyberbullying, as a quote. Again, I'm not going to read the whole article, but you can get the idea of where it's going here. It's not a particularly long article, actually, but we'll see anyway. Okay, there's two things here. The site I'm on at the moment, okay, is iflscience.com. So it's I fucking love science is I think the name of the site, but the web link is a bit more polite. It's iflscience, and yeah, short article, but pertinent. Sort of yet another. I mean, I gotta say yet another site, joining the outcry, but which they are, but it's all it's sort of black and white almost with this Zuckerberg thing. You're either for or against, although it does depend on whether you're looking at it from a futurist point of view, which means you're thinking of social implications of things, or whether you're a futurologist's point of view, where you're actually examining the possibility of technology itself rather than the social implications. But I don't think it's like the environment. You can't do one without the other, really. So I more seem to be against what Zuckerberg is up to than for it, that's for sure. Okay, so iflscience.com for that one. And here we are. This is a site called The Spoon. The spoon, the sort of thing you eat with? Well, that's where the name comes from, I think. THESPOON.TECH, the suffix being tech there. Restaurants, welcome to the metaverse. That looks a bit like an avatar, but that looks like a toy model. In fact, it reminds me of something, I can't think what. Rather than an avatar. But anyway, they're talking about a preview of what we can expect in years to come. The next generation of diners will order their food and discover they're going for their next night out from inside augmented and virtual worlds created by the likes of Epic, Roblox, and the F Word. The best hospitality companies and hospitality technical companies aren't waiting too long to adapt. So this is from a marketing and particularly a food marketing point of view, looking at the brands and what they're doing. It's actually a big picture, short article, basically. You can go, if you've got a photorealistic space, you can go to a restaurant or a shop and you can see something and order it, and maybe then it goes to your basket on the web, and then you get delivery offline of the real thing. So it can be the shop. It can be a showroom, shop front, in there. But you obviously can't sit down with a fellow avatar in a Second Life restaurant and actually eat. You're sure you can have fake food on a plate and pretend you're eating and strap on an animation that shows you making a mess of the spaghetti. But you're not actually eating anything. You just play acting. You might as well be filming if you want to film a machinima of people in the restaurant, then it's set it up. It makes a good scene, but you certainly aren't going to fill your own stomach by doing that. Not yet, anyway. Maybe you'll be able to press a button and 3D print your food from inside a virtual environment, and it will come into you in a tube, so you'll never have to stand up or do anything. There's your dystopia. Anyway, right, so that's enough of that one. That is a site called thespoon.tech. And moving on. Hello Metaverse FM. Would you believe this one? The site is called hellometaverse.fm. And you basically it's a podcast. You can subscribe to it on Spotify, where I went to get it, and whatever. Uh, this Chapin Navik is the host, and this is about computing and network needs of the metaverse. A couple of days ago, this when they tell you what the metaverse is, just as everybody else will. Um, and interestingly, yeah, here we are. This guy actually believes that platforms like FB, which I think we assume we know what that is, Twitch and Discord will become the identity systems of the metaverse. And I must say, I could happily live in Discord, and if it wasn't for picking up all my feeds here and everywhere, I could live in Discord 24 hours a day and just jump from Discord, follow the links, and jump into whatever game or world is got something going on. One way or another, it's if you're in enough servers, you've really got access to what's on all over the place. Okay, so that's a kind of summary of the interview. Basically, he's done it a bit like Kent Bai does with Voices of VR. So Jacob Navak is co-founder and CEO of Chenvid Technology, a leader in interactive streaming. And I forget the name of the guy who actually hosts this show. Anyway, and he's got notes there about the whole thing. But if you want to listen to it, you can go to Apple or to Spotify or to Google to get the video. And of course, you can subscribe when you get there. Though I think when I got there, I looked at the previous episodes and they weren't particularly interesting. It was only this one that was a deep dive into the metaverse, or the M word, we should say. So, hello, Metaverse FM. FM is presumably a suffix that can be used like radio. Radio stations used to be called Jazz FM. They're not on frequency modulation anymore. They're on DAB or on the web, but they still use the suffix a bit, I think. So, hello, Metaverse, all one word, .fm. All right. Moving down. Superburger's Metaverse. There we go again. This is the BBC, right? Nice picture, that one. I think that's well done. But I've got to scroll down here, right? Look at the credit. Nothing to do with Zuckerberg. Basically, the BBC, right, have published this article. It was a good one 2 days ago. Zuckerberg's Metaverse Lessons from Second Life. Basically, this is quite a good cyber reporter. Whoever's writing here, cyber reporter, gosh golly, is just looking back at Second Life. And, this is where all the lessons are. And, this is where it was all happening long before, Zuckerberg was born, probably. Well, not quite, but why? He doesn't. Hang on, Second Life's 18 years old, and Zuckerberg is, what, 15? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, he certainly acts like he's 15. A fascist 15, dictator 15. Right, right. So, he talks to somebody called Ray in a part of Scottish. In Second Life, and he or she is not a fan of Zuckerberg. Subscribe to Tech Tent podcast on BBC Sounds. Actually, I think that's his. I think Tech Tent in BBC Sounds. BBC are awful. They're as bad as Zuckerberg for keeping stuff within their site. You know. Hey, this is a BBC podcast. We're not going to let you subscribe via all these other places. You've got to come to the BBC and enter our website to get it, and sign up with your name and prove that you have a BBC television license. Not fun. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly do the usual here. This is the website version, and actually it's not. Yeah, Tech Tent. Yeah, you got a picture there, a few pictures, but apart from that, it's the same as the reading version. Quite a long well, not a long read, but a substantial read there. Oh, Joe Tidy. That's the name of the cyber reporter. Glad I found that one out. I am. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, guess where you go for this? BBC Co UK. And you get the direct link by my Twitter feed, of course, but bbc.co.uk, as if you needed to be told that one. Right, okay. Remove item. And the very last of the web posts now. And Rec Room. This is one of the newer sort of virtual worlds that quite a lot of people like. I don't dislike it actually, though. It's you sort of see this thing where it's sort of you know, the poor things haven't got anything below the waist, you know. They can't be having that much fun. Okay, Rep Room's Nick Fadgett's interview. It talks about building a cross-platform metaverse. We've got to get their end in too, and they're a good enough platform to be talking to. They're talking to Dean Takahashi again, of course. So the site we're on is VentureBeat. We had another one earlier from this site. So VentureBeat.com. And I know Dean Takahashi is going to be at the OR conference during the week. Right. I will be too, virtually. So we'll have a bit to talk about next week, I guess. Yeah. It's basically talking about Rec Room, its inspiration, and where it's going, and their, you know, their take, basically, on the metaverse. Quite a long thing. The edited transcript of the interview. I think the interview itself, or even the edited version, is big. I think the full interview you can get on audio somewhere, probably via GamesBeat, the game subdivision of VentureBeat, basically. But yeah, I'm sure you find the clips and everything at venturebeat.com. VentureBeat. Right, and yeah, why not? There's the other thing I was going to mention, which I think better now. Augmented World Expo. It was founded a few years ago now by well, one of the co-founders was Tish Shute, who I knew very well from Second Life and early OpenSim, and I'm actually hoping to get her on a panel very shortly. But she will be giving a talk. She herself is not really involved with them anymore, but she will be giving a talk on Tuesday. This is the main World Expo, so to speak. We quite often publish little videos here of their all night in Italy and New York and all over the place. You know, Zoom sort of things. But this one is major. I managed to get a press pass for the virtual ticket, basically. So I bookmarked a few people I will be wanting to listen to. Tish Shute amongst them. Oyamba, who is the main guy there at the moment. Philip Rosedale is doing something. There's quite a few sessions that I've bookmarked anyway in my calendar there. So could be well worth the watch. I don't think they usually do publish videos of everything after the fact. You know, a good few weeks after the fact. But I think you can still get sort of virtual tickets to log in. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, essentially. And I'm in the wrong browser to pull up the agenda, but never mind. Okay, so I'm going to remove that item, and we're going to move on to the final part of the show where we look at actual videos from the week. Now you can follow the link. The links to these are all in twitter.com/Mal Burns. If you just want my video choices alone, you can go to http mastodon.social/ and then the @ Metaworld. Right, so mastodon.social / @Metaworld. And here we go. As I said, no video this week from Charlie Fink and Ted, what's his name? There's an audio transcript, a link somewhere, but not a video one. So AR, VR, are you ready for the new reality? Most of these go through to, you can play them here on my feed, or you can click through on the name and actually go to YouTube. This was this is sort of interesting. I mean, basically, I publish here anything odd, offbeat that comes along, as well as the regulars. It's a good way for me personally, actually, to just keep a standing log of interesting videos as they appear, day to day, week by week. And this was yesterday, basically. Are you ready for the new reality?
That follows me on social media that I'm a big AR VR fan and advocate for it in education and in general in use. It's a lot of fun. It helps you be creative and so on. But today we've got definitely, I would say, an expert in the field, very well-known gentleman who writes for VR Scout, other publications. He appears on several podcasts, obviously, and he talks about AR VR. And I guess you'd call him an AR VR influencer. And I'm just really excited to have a conversation today with a great friend, Bobby Carlton. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Hi, Fonz. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate that introduction. It's a very nice introduction. So thank.
Right. It's an hour-long interview. Quite interesting. Neither of these are high flyers on my radar, as it were. But I just love hearing intelligent people talk about the things we're interested in, basically. So there that one is. Moving down the list, this is a very short one. I'm just talking about Or just now. This is a recording from Ori Imbar, is the CEO, the current CEO of Or, and this is a recording of the introduction he did.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining AWE Online. I'm your host Ori Imbar, and I have a special treat for you. A beautiful reimagined 3D space of AWE USA 2021, created with love by the talented Room team, where you can watch live keynotes, check out sponsors' booth, watch the audio awards, and even connect with other attendees with cute little avatars. Hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye.
I should add that that this is a real life event in San Diego, I think it may be. And they didn't have one real life one last year. It was all virtual, but they're back to having the real one again. But they've really gone overboard with their virtual presence too. So I'll be viewing everything, including the panels and speeches via the screens in the virtual one. I'm not going to be going transatlantic, but I must say that environment looks rather nifty indeed. And the agenda, there's quite a lot on the agenda too. I won't be there for all of it, but a lot of it, I think. So that was his introduction. Right, this next one, this is a video show called Series 4, Episode 21 of something called The Context. I'm not sure, is this... trying to remember whether this is Dave Allbarn or somebody else. Oh, yes,
There is an explosion of interest
Dave
around
Allbarn.
the concept of the metaverse. And it is worth describing its various features, the parameters that can define how different people may interpret the metaverse for their own purposes. Today I will talk about the hardware and the software that can support it, the new business models that can be really disrupting even towards the existing leaders of technology.
Right, well, as you gather, it's only nearly 15 minutes out, so it's not magnificently long, but longer than I'm going to play here. David Allbarn there, I looked into a few things. He always recognises me, which is nice. I met him about 12 years ago when there were a lot of these conferences around in this time of year actually. There was a real world conference, and I met on the same day Bruce Joy from Vastpark, who I chatted all night with, literally all for about 8 hours through the night, in the early morning kind of thing, because we couldn't stop talking. But I also met David Orban here at the same thing, and he actually has pretty long hair, but he had even longer. He looked like really straggly and everything. Of course, now he's got these shows going on, so he's always preened himself to look a bit more mainstream than he did when I met him. But he's an interesting guy. A good orator, you know, rather than imagination driven. Right. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is I say transversal. It's as in traversing, traversal. The first committee meeting on portal interoperability, and again, this is 90 minutes basically. It's a kind of Zoom call of stakeholders.
Hello, everyone, and welcome.
This is Evo Henning.
We are gathered here today to explore how we can collaborate around interoperability.
Evo, by the way, will be joining me on a panel at the OpenSync Community Conference in just over a month.
And I want to welcome all of you, and thank you for joining us here today. I am Evo Henning. I am co-chair at Open Metaverse Interoperability, a community group as part of W3C. And I am also a creator, producer, and someone who has been working in these spaces for about 17, 18 years. So we're going to explore a little bit of an inquiry-based approach to how we can collaborate across these new public commons, recognizing that while many of us have been building products or relatively closed ecosystems or products, we are also sorting out how those ecosystems and products are going to be working together in order to form something that is available for everyone.
Right. Well, again, 90 minutes here. I can't play you the loss of it, I'm afraid, but it's well worth checking in with this. I'm just going to scan forward a little bit because it starts off feeling like it's an audio thing with slides, but it moves on. There's some in-world scenes, and then we've got some.
That look is a look that can only happen by a roaring fire.
We're going to continue to do those open demos with this community, and we're going to be inviting you to participate.
That's again. Who else did we have? Loads of other. Oh, I don't want to look at Zuckerberg. Thank you. I better not fiddle.
And making sure that we approach this work both with hearts that care for others and keep human rights, ethics, care for the whole.
I don't know how easily you can see it, but that was a list of
our view, no matter what we are creating.
The events, the agenda, so
we're going to hear from Robert. We will hear from our co-conveners here, including Terry at Deutsche Telekom, Neil from Kronos Group, and specifically around how Kronos is
and standalone VR. The future of
technology companies.
Actually, this would really be a choice of the week if there was such a thing, because I want to keep on playing it. But anyway, I can do that offline. You can do it through my feed as you want. And 6 days ago. Right. This is sort of interesting because I think it was last week we couldn't find a video for This Week in XR's Charlie Fink. And yet it popped up on Monday. So it actually, I got it. This wasn't here when we came here last week, basically, even though it should have been a few days before. And October Next Dimension podcast, we looked at that this week. Now I have a problem. In that I can't see. James will probably tell me. Was there an edition of Upload VR this week?
Oh yeah, there were two actually. There was the Games Cast as well as the Technology Cast. Yep.
I don't know why my copy of the I actually seem to remember watching it. But
Okay.
I obviously didn't get it posted here, so that's unfortunate. I will endeavour to do so, so it's actually on the list if any of you come here and check. But Upload VR is the website, and the VR Download is the name of the first of the week podcast video cast they do. They do a games cast later in the week, which I don't normally keep because it's a bit off my radar. But the Monday edition is very good. So you can go to Upload VR, or one word, at Google to find it, which is something I will be doing later, so that I can get it added to this list. It's sometimes I find subscriptions to YouTube don't come through, and I actually have to go to YouTube and root around to see what I missed. It might have been a case like that, 'cause I know I watched it though, so I don't know why it didn't get tagged and added here. You never know. Strange things happen.
Who knows? I do have to comment. It was funny because on the Games Cast, Xena, who is hosting that, she posted about an upcoming conference, and she posted the date in UK format, in European format, and everybody was upset. It was very funny. And she said, "Oh, stop it, you Americans."
Okay. Yeah, they are largely focused on Britain, I think, which is a nice thing for me about them.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying. I can't see any time code here. I got a friend of ours, Marcus Llewellyn, in chat here, saying, "Ask 10 people what the metaverse is, and you'll get 539 answers." Don't know where he got
I
that
believe
from.
it. Oh, hello, Marcus.
Thank God I thought a plastic alien was hugging his face. Oh, that must have been. The telegram also destroyed humanity, don't you know? The automobile, telephones, radios, televisions, and the internet. We're doomed. You're very pessimistic, Albert. We're really optimistic there, aren't we, Marcus? Okay, well. I'm not getting a reply, so I've got a feeling you might have been in earlier and has already left.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Oh, dear, he was here the other week too, so good to see when we've got our friends popping in.
Yeah, very nice.
Live as well. Okay, yeah, so I will dig that up for everybody and get it down to the list. But apart from that, and I need to put my monitor on again so I can see myself, that's it. That is it. So, James, any thoughts on all the rest of the shebang and doodles and whatever we were?
Probably not so much. The one thought I have is that we're doing a lot of talk about Facebook and Zuckerberg, and it's almost like are we giving him too much credit, too much power for having such an influence? And I guess it would be like I saw that there was a new rendition of our 45th president on Saturday Night Live over the weekend, and my reaction was, why can't we just forget about him? Why can't we just let that go?
Oh, I would agree.
Yeah.
And I'm not even I'm not even American.
Not even American. Not even U.S. Yep.
Yeah, they just got to get something in.
Yep.
I
suppose we shouldn't ignore Zuckerberg and the Meta, but sometimes it's very tiring.
It does. I mean, I still tweet things that my idea was I'm going to not anything that mentions Meta and Facebook and Zuckerberg and all this. I just forget it. I don't bother with a lot of the VR headset type stuff now. But then I ended up, but an hour went by and then I was tweeting this and tweeting that, and then I just had to say reluctantly, it is news.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is I may not have wanted to post it, but it was news, and can't really do much else about that. Yeah. Right,
I guess another comment. You mentioned Marcus was in the audience, and I think it was quite. Again. Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, he's just saying. He said.
Yeah, he shared comments earlier about really taking a closer look at Microsoft Mesh. And what how that could be, possibly not isolated walled garden, possibly could be a more open platform, but I don't know.
It's very easy to knock Microsoft, but they are not averse to open sourcing stuff if it plays nice with their ideas. They're not quite greedy of I've got to keep everything in my own basket. I mean, Microsoft, they're sort of ubiquitous and their operating system and everything else, but their success is more of a at times they have always been, they've allowed users to customize things a bit, and they've open sourced things that they don't really, they see being useful that they don't actually see any financial return on. They're the kind of company that I think, something came up and it's their hot new thing, but they don't see any money coming in on it. They're going to open source it to get the community to help them develop it, because they've got a big community of people who take stuff and do free development for them, really. So I don't know, but yeah, I've been reading about Mesh for 2 or 3 years now. It's not something they've automatically, appeared,
right?
Because of Zuckerberg's announcement. It's well, yeah, I don't know. I think I like the idea as well that it's rather depressing for a few days thinking that Zuckerberg, despite the fact he'll probably be in prison or something or whatever before it all happens, is he's dominating the media, the arguments and stuff. Every day there's 1 or 2 different things that Meta is now doing. And as a result, people are not hearing of what's happening in the courts, either in America and in Europe. It's under the radar. Even the whistleblower woman from from that thing. She was in Britain here. She had to spend a week giving evidence to Parliament here. Because I don't think there's much likelihood of Zuckerberg getting away with too much more in Britain in the future. Who knows about the rest of Europe? But but I like the idea that it's like scales, scales of justice or whatever. But, I like the fact that Microsoft are a heavyweight, but Facebook in some ways is bigger. But Microsoft are bigger in other ways. They're sort of counterbalancing each other a little bit, and that helps take some of the the emphasis away from Zuckerberg's PR. I want to see I want to see him shut up, and I want the news feeds to actually be about the things that he's the criminal things he's doing, right? Not the aspirations he's got for the next 15 years of some 3D fantasy that's totally his own idea. His idea is nicked, but his vision is totally insular. It's his own vision. It's not a vision driven by, I don't think he hasn't mentioned, all this is going to be grand, big, whatever, and we're doing this, we're doing that. I don't think I've heard any things like even the word democracy and, collaboration really mentioned in his speeches. The other guy did mention a bit about collaboration, and Nick Legg also did, but it was matter of factish rather than a part of a vision thing.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take us down the path of opinionation, but
yeah. Well, yeah. This you may be wondering what's happening here. I've got my latest Twitters coming in on screen here. This one comes from Kathy Hackle, the godmother of the Metaverse, as some people call her. She's saying that digital fashion house The Fabricant has launched an online design studio in which users can create exclusive virtual garments to trade and wear in the Metaverse. Whose Metaverse? It doesn't say. But I've just pulled up the pictures from this, which I've discovered another way of being able to pull stuff up on screen for you wonderful viewers. And putting that one away. I'm just going down the latest stuff. This is stuff that has come in since I've been on air, so I did notice that one. How long has our show been this week? I was going to keep an eye on my
1
time.
hour 49 minutes.
Oh, right, 1942. So that was tonight. Is that right? November 7, 7:30. Okay. Yeah. There's if you are in Clubhouse, you can go to the Metaworld show tonight, which is it's at 7:30 Eastern time. So I add 5 to that. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's about the midnight hour for me, but I probably will be there because I like being there. They're talking about the future of virtual commerce, and Dr. Fran will be there, and Tina Baylock. Oh, and Heyman, who's sort of the one who hosts it mostly. So yeah, I can't show you that because it's not a pop out. Oh, maybe it is. Yes, there you are. All right. So I don't know where you can see it. That's the Clubhouse event address you would need. Anyway, I'm sure if you've got Clubhouse, you can easily look that up. But you know, if you when you open Clubhouse, it shows you the main things on at a given time. So I'm sure if you log in at about about 7 p.m. Eastern time, you'll find it. Okay. What's this one, I wonder? Oh, that's not going to pop out. It's YouTube. Okay, well, so much for that. I thought I saw something else come in, but I think we'll stick with the virtual fashion for now. Yeah, just checking. People endlessly post their avatars, don't they? So, right, okay, that's enough. There's nothing else new. Just that fashion thing that just came in, which is sort of interest. And yeah, the Metaworld show a bit later tonight. So it'll be about, I think it's about half past 11 at night here in the UK. So it's 7:30 Eastern. And but yeah, actually, it's 5 hours different. One thing that has happened this week is last week I was totally thrown because we went off British summertime, but so did most of the rest of the world, but not America. So I spent a whole week. I spent a whole week trying to figure. Now, am I 9 hours apart, or 7 hours apart, or whatever? But the great thing is, as of yesterday, America came back into the real world. So it's when I'm now 8 hours separate from Pacific and 5 hours Pacific from separate from New York. So I've got my head straight again, but it's just taking a while. Okay, Marcus says he thinks Microsoft Mesh is an interesting preview of an idea enabling a personal overlay of yourself, making you look your best.
Yeah.
Remember, the Metaverse isn't the first time Facebook, now Meta, has gone on a tangent. Remember when they were going to revolutionize cryptocurrency? That went well. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Marcus. I should have been. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, so it's only now that I've realised there's anything. You're in the chat room. Okay. So that was it for you, James. Nothing more to contribute.
Yes.
It's time we can actually kind of leave the rest of the folks out there to it.
All right.
It's let's see. Well, not much more to say. We will be back same time, same place next week. So meanwhile, it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him.
In other words, it's goodbye from the two of us because we two are one, but we are XR, we are MR, we are VR, we are Metaverse. We are. See? XR, MR, VR, we are. It's got a chain of thought thing. Okay, everybody, have a very good week. Stay safe. Don't go out if you don't have to. Work at home if you can, and avoid germs and plagues and floods and fires and strong winds and everything. Everything is going down. We will hope we will see you at same time, same place next week. Bye for now.